Hey guys, it's just gone 12. We've got a good number of people in already, so I'm just going to give another 30 seconds or so for the others to join us. They're coming in now. We've got people coming in now, some more. So hope you're all doing well. Just want to say thanks as always for giving up your time on a beautiful, I was going to say summer's day, but it's a beautiful spring day. It's about 22 degrees out there, and inside my shed, I can tell you it feels like about 50 degrees, but I can't complain. I prefer that to the cold. So yeah, we'll wait till 1 minute past before we kick off. I'm just looking at the names of people coming in. We've got some new people today, which is really nice. Some familiar faces as well. Okay, so trust you can all see my screen. That's the title of today's webinar. Normally these webinars come out every Friday. If you're new, this one is coming out on the Thursday because there is no Friday. Unfortunately, I still have some work to do tomorrow, but for most of you, you're going to be off enjoying the sun. So welcome to the webinar. Now, just get my mouse in gear. If you don't know me, if you are new, my name's Jon Earnshaw, and I'm the Chief Product Evangelist at Datametrics. And my printer's just started working, so it's probably my neighbor hacked into my system. But anyway, because it's only me on the webinar today talking about how to work out your SERP feature share of voice and to get on the Pi leaderboard, because it's only me, I'd really like to try and encourage you guys who are tuning in, because I can't see you, I'd encourage you to ask questions as we go through. I ran a session on Monday with one of our clients, a training session, and they were asking questions all the way through, and that works super well. So if you've got a question, you can post it in the chat box, which is either below or it's to the side, depending on how your screen is configured. I love that. I might even give out a prize from my prize drawer, which I have here on my right, which is packed full of lockdown prizes, because I obviously can't get out to the shops. Got a couple of interactive polls coming up today as well. And at the end, I'm going to pull that printer out in a minute. Don't know what it's doing. At the end, I'm going to be jumping onto Slack, so you can join me there for a 30-minute Q&A. So if your question is super detailed, then what we'll do is we'll take it offline at the end. So to begin with, you know, what are SERP features? We've got some new people here who probably haven't heard my words about SERP features, but it was only this week. Now, I've been obsessed about SERP features for a long time, but it was this week, you know, when SERP features were added to MI and to our leaderboards, that I really realized how important they are. And this is such a crucial subject, particularly now as Google is really mixing things up from a feature perspective. So what are those features? Well, basically it's anything other than a classic result. Google became universal actually 15 years ago, okay, when it basically copied what Naver, the South Korean search engine, was doing at the time. They were the first universal one, and Google started to add images, video, other features, the knowledge graph data, etc., to create a really rich, interesting, and dynamic SERP. Okay, some of you will have seen this example before. Classic, it's a search for the new iPhone. Okay, now this was only, you look at that, how dull that is. That was only 2017. That was 3 years ago, probably autumn, the launch of the new iPhone. But look at it now, okay, look at it now. Those incredibly rich features within that landscape. And these features, they're not just fancy items or fancy adornments on Google's page, but these are all touch points. They're all potential doorways into your online ecosystem. And the extent to which you can capitalize on this and open those doorways within that dynamic landscape depend on a couple of things, okay? How well optimized your assets are and how well connected they are. Let's look at this in a slightly different way. And I'm going to turn to one of my favorite views within Pi, which is the matrix. Nothing other than a genuine reflection of searcher intent. So if you haven't seen the matrix before, we've got 24 days here 20 items that appear in Google in order, creating 480 touch points, 480 potential touch points. This is a search for how to grow my beard. I'm not personally growing a beard, a little too hot, but a number of guys at Pi are some particularly magnificent specimens. Now, if you're a guy and you're going to grow a beard at this time, and you searched how to grow my beard, you see an incredibly feature-rich landscape. It's like a pie with a really thick, crusty pastry on top. The message I want to get across with this is, okay, well, actually, some of those features, you've got product listed ads, you've got text ads, answer cards in black, you've got people also ask. Again, wonderful way to get inside the mind of the searcher, the video carousel. The important thing about this is, even if you were position 1, page 1, with a classic link, nobody's going to see it, because there is too much other good stuff going on. You're either going to get lost in the rabbit warren of people also ask, or you're going to go to see a video of exactly how to do it. Why would I want to read about it when I can see somebody showing me, in a video, how to grow a beard, probably a long video. Interestingly, yeah, and if you're on a mobile phone, you pick up your mobile and you search for this. It's actually 3 full screen scrolls down to get to that first classic link. And on the way, you're going to have to bypass some really good features. You're never going to make it. We've got to start taking features more seriously, and that's why we've added them to market intelligence, okay? And we're going to see that in just a moment. So, SERP features, share a voice is now in Pi, okay? Love or hate those features, love or hate them, you cannot ignore them. If you don't own them, your competitors will. And you're in a moment going to see the stark difference between reporting on pure classic links alone and reporting including features. Yes, there's going to be a dilation. Yes, those scores aren't going to be so high, but it's a true picture. Who's going to win if you ignore this? Your competitors, I guarantee it. Now is not the time to bury your heads in the sand, and you might be alarmed at some of the stuff I'm about to show you. So, okay, SERP feature share a voice is now in Pi Leaderboards. If you haven't seen Pi Leaderboards before, what we basically do at Pi is we analyze the SERP landscape in its entirety to work out who the best performers are. Okay, we do this across 11 industries. Seeing we've got any questions. Okay, no questions yet, but again, don't forget, if you do have questions, there are hello, thanks for this. Oh, Monsi Cano, wonderful, great, good to see you here. Now, we do this across 11 industries. Each leaderboard analyzes the performance of everybody within the SERP landscape, and I mean everybody who appears in the top 100. For example, if you take the fashion leaderboard here, we use 14,000 commercially viable search terms across 40,000 sites, which if you look at Q1 alone, that's going to give you the equivalent of 91 million searches. That's a lot of data. So this is a true reflection of who the best performers are. And now, I'm so glad you guys are here, because I'm going to cut to the chase. This is better than a free gift from my door, okay? This webinar, as you know, it's called How to Work Out Your SERP Features, Share a Voice, and Get on the Pi Leaderboard, okay? And at this time in particular, we want to do something. We thought around, what we could do, and guys in marketing came up with a wonderful idea. What can we do? We're going to provide you guys, if you move quickly enough, free access to these 3 leaderboards here, okay? Fashion, homeware, and electrical. I'm standing up. I'm getting a little too excited. Okay, so with these, what you're going to get access to is leaderboard data, daily tracking, industry insights, industry reports, and SERP feature analysis. And because you guys subscribe to SEO in the Shed, and you're on here today, not out in that blistering sunshine, you're going to get the details first. Okay, the full invite isn't going out until Monday. I forgot to mention the access you will get is between April 15th and May the 15th, and it's only to the first 100 people who subscribe. So if you guys move on that when you get the email, then you're going to get the first chance. Right, so when we add SERP features, okay, to market intelligence, to share of voice, a number of things change. They are summarized here. They're summarized here. Okay, what have we found? Share of voice overall for everybody, although some do better than others, has dropped due to the dilution from the SERP features. The SERP features that most people are ignoring. YouTube has surged, did in electronics, and it did in other areas. YouTube is searching right now because intent is changing. We're moving away from transactional into navigational, researching, learning. What can we do? Personally, I'm learning Chinese. I got these amazing flashcards to help me, but I just saw those on my desk. So many new entries have appeared and there's been loads of volatility. Let's take a look in a little more detail and begin with the electrical landscape. Okay, now here are the top 20 players in electrical across 7 categories. So we've got thousands of search terms in those categories which you may not be able to see in that key: desktop PCs and Macs, gaming, iPads and tablets, laptops, monitors, projectors, printing and scanning and software. Who does best? Currys, Oculus, Amazon and Xbox. Now it's time for the first poll. Okay, what percentage of these do you think will change position when we include SERP features? None, 20%, 50 or 90? I really love to see what you've got to say on that. Let me see those polls coming in. Polls. Okay. Collecting responses. Okay, the poll has closed. Okay, right, 59%, the majority think it's going to be a 50% change, 35%, 90%, nobody thought none, so obviously I wouldn't be here if there were none. 6% said 20. Well, I can tell you the answer is, and you can't see it there, but you can see a stark difference. The answer is 19%. Okay, 18 out of these 20 actually shifted in position. Some vanished from the top 20. Let's take a look in a little more detail. So what do we got? Okay, looking at that, and this is electronics. Xbox, okay, has actually moved up 3 positions when we include features up to number 1, thanks to strong performance in gaming, strong performance in features, particularly video and particularly images that we know are going to get the clicks, and they're going to be seeing that. Okay, Microsoft has dropped 8. What Microsoft has done is basically shut up its shop windows and said, sorry, I actually don't want to serve you. Instead, I'm going to leave that search landscape open for my competitors. People like YouTube, who've moved up 35 positions. Okay, Google down, Samsung down, Laptops Direct down. They've all dropped by 5 positions. Are they going to notice that? Absolutely 100% yes. Okay, on a mobile device, I can guarantee you that the click-through rate impact is going to be significant. They're going to see some huge drops. Okay, now on to another area. Okay, we're going to look at fashion, and I am going to be focusing on one fashion brand. Okay, if you're a client, don't worry, it's not you. And all I've got are these words in my head saying, don't mention the brand, don't mention the brand. I'm really going to try hard not to mention the brand. So here we have, okay, a comparison. We've got a comparison of the combined performance of this one brand, okay, over 5 categories: menswear, women's wear, kids wear, non-gender specific, and accessories. How do they do? Okay, well, they started with a rank of 2, and that was back at the start of the quarter. Now they've got a rank of 1, so they are a strong performer overall. They sell all that stuff. Now, but you know, and what can you see? What can you see from these charts? I've got them all over here. What can you see? Well, okay, share of voice 50% lower. And some people may say, whoa, that's huge. Yeah, because you're shutting up the doorways into your world by letting your competitors, often smaller, more agile players, actually occupy that real estate. When we get to the penultimate slide, I'm going to show you something really interesting, somebody who does that really well. So that's the first thing, lower share of voice. The second thing that you can see here, a lot of volatility, particularly from about 3 weeks ago. Let's take a look at the top 20. Okay, I'm not looking at all 5 combined. I'm just looking at fashion. Okay, at women's wear fashion. Okay, who's in top position there? They weren't the ones previously. Top position is Boohoo. On the left, this is the image we get without features. On the right, with features. There's a stark difference in the landscape. And again, this is a true reflection, because think back to that matrix view for how to grow my beard. If I'm in a classic link, that means nothing, because nobody's going to get there, because the feature-rich landscape, and I'm not talking about commercially tainted advertorial, I'm talking about really good images. Google selects the best ones. I'm talking about great videos. I'm talking about answer cards. I'm talking about all those doorways. Now, okay, so that's just women's wear. Boohoo Strong, how do they do that? You compare their performance on the left with the performance on the right. Okay, those sections are almost the same, because they are doing one thing super well that I will share with you. Pretty Little Thing, they've moved up too. Very, poor old Very, have actually gone down 6. John Lewis, again, what do? Shut up the shop, because we don't care about those features, and therefore our overall performance has fallen. Okay, I was looking at accessories earlier, not for myself, for the research. eBay actually vanished. Let's move on. So this is fashion share of voice over time without features, and we have got different websites here, different URLs. We've got a green and a yellow. I'm not going to name them. The third one down there, that's Boohoo, but they don't sell menswear or kidswear, I don't think, which is why they're super strong in women's wear alone. We've got a lot of stability largely here, with a bit of chopping and changing. Compare that view, okay, with features included. Huge volatility on a weekly basis, with a big uptick there, a week commencing around 22nd, 23rd of March. So things are very different, okay. The lines are much closer together as well. Again, this is a true reflection. What I want to do is look a little more closely at these 2 points here. Point A, okay, the dip, and point B, the spike. And to do that, I am going to look at that one retailer, just that one retailer, the same one I looked at earlier, where we saw their share of voice actually moved up recently because something's changed. How do we do that? Well, we take a SERP radar and we look at a bunch of terms over a period of time, okay? Over a period, I'm just talking of time, I'm checking on my time, over a period of time. And we analyze their performance for this one retailer and see what sort of features they're actually returning and what's prominent, what's available to them. PLAs, we've got text ads, we've got maps, we've got people also ask, etc. So that was point A, that was the dip. That was the dip where they didn't perform so well. We come on to point B, and again, this is kind of an anomaly here, because Google's been doing a lot of experimentation recently with features, putting 10 block images in there, taking them out, putting them in, taking them out. Surely nothing less than testing our intent. Okay, so what's happening at point B, the spike where this one company saw that increase in their share of voice with features included? Super important. Less text ads across the board, less PLAs, less maps, less people also ask, slightly more images. I'll come to a conclusion shortly on what happened and how they improved their share of voice at that spike where we had less features. Before, 16% features, answer cards, people also ask, maps. There are also, for other queries, lots of images as well, and that's really important. Point B, where that company, who is anonymous, and I can't believe I've not mentioned their name yet, it's just tapping inside my head. Point B, okay, 12% features, a big drop, 50% fewer answer cards, pushing those classic links up. So, you know, what it looks like to me, and I need to do some more research on this, but it looks as though their performance with features included is only improved because they don't perform very well for features. And I looked, and their performance is absolutely lousy. I'll say it here, and I can say that because I haven't as yet revealed who they are. I can always reveal that offline afterwards. Okay, so essentially for them, that means they are at the whim of Google. They're going to have a larger share of voice when Google decides, you know what, I'm going to take those features out and see what people think. And then the share of voice is going to drop dramatically when Google pushes those features back. If we're on a trajectory from 2017, say to 2025, we've got this many features already, I would suggest that the number of features is going to grow substantially. So their share of voice, surely when we look at the universal view, the true view, their performance is going to go down, and I can see them going from position 1 down to 2, 3, 4, 5, losing revenue, closing doors into their world, and leaving them open for their competitors. Who would want to do that? I just don't get it. Okay, so I think I've got a poll now, a poll on reporting on features. I think, was that coming up here? Maybe I don't, maybe I do. Okay, maybe I don't. Do I? No. Ah, I do have a poll. Okay, since the lockdown, you've had nothing else to do than explore the SERP landscape. Okay, have you noticed any change to the number of features appearing within your sector? I'd be really interested in this. Okay, all that time we spend exploring the landscape. Okay, not looked, 22%, 20%, 17. Oh, I'm glad that one's going down. Not looked. How can you not be looking? How can you not be looking at the SERP? Okay, right. There, the results are in. Okay, 53% of people, and I say, yeah, I agree with that one. 53% have actually seen changes. Okay, 7% say it's about the same. 20% have not looked, and I'm assuming those changes may be positive, but certainly images, I have seen a heck of a lot more images appearing within the SERP landscape. Okay, right. Moving on. So here we have estimated revenue performance, and we've got again, this is for women's wear. This is that one brand that I will remain nameless. Features not included on the left, features included on the right. And the first thing to notice, from a revenue perspective, there is significantly more volatility, okay, when we actually include features. And why wouldn't you want to include the features? Okay, so we can highlight that. So we look at that current week, and again, this is just for women's wear, I believe, and where are we? UK fashion. So there's a difference there between 2 million without features, or a truer picture of 1.3. Okay, the delta, the difference between that, I'll tell you what the difference between that, between view 1 and view 2, the difference is opportunity. The difference is revenue. The difference is just a little bit of work to help Google understand the connection between our assets. The difference is images that are not optimized and images that are. The difference is exploring the SERP landscape and understanding, getting inside the mind of the customer and creating content that answers the questions that those customers have, alongside the queries that you're also looking at. As I always say, yeah, you get queries, but you have questions. Like the example I used last week, I'm looking for a new blazer. So I search men's blazer. Questions I have: will it look good with jeans? Can I wear it with sneakers? That kind of stuff. It's really important that we monitor those so that we do understand intent. Okay, so crucially, as time ticks along, what about the opportunity that I've just mentioned? Okay, let's turn to the anonymized fashion brand, and let's just look at women's wear alone. Now, in this chart here, what we're looking at are those different categories within women's wear. The blue area, that's content that's currently positioned well on page 1. Okay, ignoring the features, which, as you know, on a mobile, you're not really on page 1. You're 3 scrolls down. The pink area, that's content that's very, very close opportunity. That's sitting on pages 2 and 3 right now. And then we have a much wider opportunity there. Current close reach opportunity for this brand, Classic Links, £431,000. Let's include features. And I said the difference is opportunity. There's an additional £323,000 a week in revenue for this brand here in the chart, okay? If only they get their act together, if only they take those features seriously. Okay, let's think about that content. Let's think about that content that's sitting on pages 2 and 3. Okay, you push a lot of that up, you're going to get in the answer cards. Why is it there? Why is it there? Well, I'll tell you why it's there, because I've had a look. They are suffering hugely from internal conflict. 70% of this can be fixed, and it's not rocket science. Okay, it could have been lack of optimization or lack of theming, could have been lack of internal authority. It could be because they don't care that they are closing the doorways into their online world and giving that up to the competitors. You're not just shutting shop, but you are opening doors. Every time you close a door, you open it for your competitors. Let's take a look at some of the terms that they are missing out on. Don't think of these as terms, think of them as content. Think of this as content somebody has sweated to create, has worked really hard. You know what they've done? Yeah, they've done that, but they haven't done it contextually. They haven't thought about the rest of the ecosystem. And even worse, they've turned their back, you know, just like left. As I said before, we've got to become better curators of our content. And when we think about all of this, we've got to get better at connecting these things together, okay? Because that's key to winning from a universal, feature-rich SERP perspective. The penultimate slide, okay, who does it brilliant? I meant Boohoo, as I get closer to the camera, I meant Boohoo was actually position 1 in women's wear from a feature-rich SERP perspective. Look at that real estate monopolization images. Those images on the left in desktop view, they're actually better than the paid for ads further up. Okay, they haven't got their heads cut off. Look at the paid ads. What's going to appeal to me more? What am I likely to click on if I was looking for an off-the-shoulder floral dress? Yeah, it's a warm day. I think that would go down well. Maybe not for me, but definitely for others. They've opened up six touch points on their page. So they've got their classic, they're in images, mobile, even better. Okay, am I going to get to the classic link? Not a chance, because I've got too many really good, appealing, you know, these, as I said before, these are not commercially tainted ads, but these are really interesting, clickable items. I haven't even talked about answer cards. I haven't even mentioned people also ask as much as I want to. That's why they do well. They're top for women's wear, much more feature visibility, open multiple doors, and closing doors for competitors. Brilliant. Well done to you, Boohoo. Okay. So what does it all mean? Finally, as we come to summarize, okay, you've got to analyze SERP features regularly, and I mean daily, okay? Monitor performance against competitors, look for changes in intent in the way that we discussed last week, because then you can create supplementary content that matches intent. You can group terms. If you're using Pi, you can group terms by intent. You can group terms by feature opportunity. So make sure your content, make sure you do have that content. So having analyzed it, looked at the intent, okay, create that content. Look for signs of Google testing. It's going on right now, pulling those images out and then pushing them back in. And in the same way that Boohoo has done, don't be satisfied with, say, yeah, woohoo, I'm on page 1, okay, with a classic link. That's not enough. There are other opportunities, other doorways that you need to open, but you need to analyze the search so you can understand the landscape. And finally, request access to the electricals, homeware, or fashion data, and you can start exploring that if you are one of the first 100 people to sign up. So, and I really recommend you do that, because honest to God, you know, for the past few days, I have got lost in that data. I'm amazed that we managed to pull this deck together, because there is so much stuff to look at. So as this draws to an end, as always, thank you so much for giving up your time on a roasting hot spring day. I'm going to be back next Friday, be releasing some details on that soon. I've got a super guest coming on as well. And don't worry, or don't worry, if you want to join Slack, do that, and then we can continue the chat. If you want to rush off into the sunshine, then do that as well, and I will see you next week. So I think I've actually finished on time. So thanks again for watching. See you next week. Until then, have a great lockdown, great time, great day. Thank you. I'll stop.